Before we get started, I have a quick favor. I've been self-funding the Finding Genius podcast for 5 years now. I've done over 3,000 episodes. And as you can see on YouTube, we're up over 1 million views on the channel, which is fantastic. The next thing I really want to push on is to get up to 10,000 subscribers. Because once we do, we'll be able to put a donate button and we'll be able to solicit donations to help keep the podcast running and to also get the Finding Genius Foundation moving along. We have a big project studying anxiety, depression, and PTSD and working on a product to help people overcome these problems because I've seen them explode recently after the last 2 years of the whole virus situation. So if you would, please subscribe to the podcast. That would help us tremendously. Give us a thumbs up and check in the description for Buy Me a Coffee. It's about $5. If you could buy me a coffee, I'd really appreciate it. It would help keep the channel going, and I love coffee. Thank you.
Forget frequently asked questions,
common sense, common knowledge, or Google.
How about advice from a real genius? 95% of people in any profession are good enough to be qualified and licensed. 5%
go above and beyond.
They become very good at what they do, but only
0.1%
are real geniuses. Richard Jacobs has made it his life's mission to find them for you. He hunts down and interviews geniuses in every field: sleep science, cancer, stem cells, ketogenic diets, and more. Here come the geniuses. This is the Finding Genius Podcast
with Richard Jacobs.
Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with the Finding Genius podcast. My guest today is Dr. Alex Mehr. He's the co-founder and CEO of Famous.ai. And the idea here is to take an idea that you have and turn it into a functioning app much more quickly than you otherwise would with the help of this, this tool. And Dr. Mehr is a former NASA scientist turned into a serial entrepreneur. He's had multiple exits and he's garnered millions of users for his products. So he's done very well. And we're going to talk about, again, Famous.ai. So welcome, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Well, tell me about what was the idea? What is the idea behind this product? How did you come to it?
Yeah, it's interesting because, being a serial entrepreneur, I always had this method to the madness that was essentially come up with a lot of ideas. I call it becoming an idea machine. I've always tried to be an idea machine and, executed them rapidly and let the market tell me, what sinks and what idea swims. So, that always required a lot of time to execute on an idea, a lot of capital, and having a full-blown team, because as you know, building, a complex product a lot of times requires people with different expertise. Well, that all changed with AI, and entrepreneurs can really take their ideas and build them out fast. And I saw the opportunity. I'm like, what I've been doing myself for a long time now, 17 plus years, I can now enable everybody to do it in a much more affordable and faster way by building an AI tool that accomplishes that. So that's the core of the idea. Essentially, I'm trying to build a tool that does what I've been doing professionally and make it available to everybody.
So is this, I guess it's like an AI agent, but it's a standalone tool that you're creating to act as one, or how does it work?
Yeah, it's not. AI agent has really lost its meaning. Most people, when they talk about AI agent, they're talking about an AI model that has tool calling ability. That's really what it really means. This is way more than that. I call it synthetic intelligence in the sense that it is essentially orchestrate multiple AI models, AI tools, and reasons down to get the job done. So think of AI agent. We have agentic AI products ourselves in our portfolio. A lot of them are prompt to LLM. So essentially, you take the LLM, a large language model, and you give it tool calling abilities. Tool could be something like sending an email or writing code or compiling code or generating an image as an example. And then you feed it a prompt, and then AI decides what tool to call. What we build is one layer more than that. Think of it as sort of like an AI agent as an employee in a company. What we build the whole organization. So there's an orchestration and it's multiple AI models depending on the task that needs to be done. So the idea here is you think of the user as a client, and the client, issues a command, which is a lot of times is not very specific. Build me a dating app or, singles over 40 years old as an example, right? And then, it orchestrates a whole bunch of actions that need to be done to build a full-blown product from that. So it essentially plans and starts executing sometimes multiple threads, different AI models, whatever it needs to do to get the job done. So that's why I don't like to use the term AI agent. It's so overused. It has lost its meaning, essentially.
So what would you call this? It sounds like it's,
the term I really like and we use is synthetic intelligence. The term has been around, but I picked it up and I adopted the term. It essentially is the synthesis of AI model. Does that make sense? So that's why I call it synthetic intelligence. And I don't have a better term for it, but I think it's very descriptive on what it does. And that's the best way to describe it.
Okay. So what have you, with your app, what kind of cool things have you built on your own so far?
Oh, we've built quite a few things ourselves. We've built some stuff for our clients too. I've seen people who have built all sorts of marketplaces. You can obviously build really simple stuff too. Like you're a real estate agent, you want to build a website that captures, leads or, offers like a lead magnet, like an ebook in exchange for those kind of things you can build easily with like 2 prompts. But I've also seen people who built really complex products, local food delivery products. I've seen all sorts of marketplaces, car rental, real estate, health coaching. It's just the number. Once you build it, I think of it as, the David versus Goliath. I think of the establishment of big software companies as Goliath. And there are a lot of Davids out there. And my job here is to give them the slingshot. So it's we have a lot of Davids who are taking a shot at the big guys using our tool.
What are some of the common, not crazily ambitious things that people are doing with the practical stuff?
Yeah, a lot of it is actually, I want to say a lot of people use it for lead capture, appointment setting. They have like a small business and they want to set up a better front for their business to capture client information, schedule them, or let's say they're an author, a lot of book funnels. We have actually a lot of book funnels, people who have a book and they want to set up a website, give people the ability to purchase the book directly, or maybe the book is being given away for free for the contact information, and then they contact them and set up Zooms to sell other products. So a lot of those use cases, which previously needed, you needed to set up funnels and hook up automation and stuff like that. A lot of that is actually abstracted out so people can build easily by just explaining it in pure English.
In an AI, or can your program interact with a software product that does not have an API?
No. So right now it doesn't, and mostly because I want to avoid a situation where it's clunky. So imagine imagine building a website and then when the user inputs something into the field, it tries to go and read a website on the back end and insert the information. So it doesn't it doesn't quite work so well. So it's API based, but it can be any API. We have some preferred tooling that that Famous.ai actually suggests to the user. For example, if you want to integrate payment, it suggests Stripe and gets the Stripe key and it knows how to do it. But it can be any payment processor really. As long as the API documents are available on the web, it can go research it and implement it. So it's really API based for the most part.
Do you think that there will be a time where AI is somehow smart enough to interact with software without using an API?
I think it actually would be the other way around, meaning think Photoshop, for example, right? So probably 100% of Photoshop users at this point of time are humans. But go forward, the majority of users of every software application is going to be AI. So the software companies are going to have just competitive forces. They are going to have to change their products so that AI can use them. I actually foresee a future that any software company that just allows humans to use its product is going to just go out of business. So I think, I say it's just competitive forces. It's just a matter of time. And a lot of companies are going in that direction anyways.
I'm hard to get my head around that. What would that look like?
I think the majority of software usage is not going to be humans. It's actually happening in front of our eyes as it's not even a theory anymore. All tools,
like an easy to understand example of how
Google Docs, just a pure example, it's like a lot of like PowerPoint presentations and Google Doc usage is AI. And it was 100% human in the past. So it has, it's pretty nice to use and AI uses it. And if Microsoft Word doesn't allow it, like their online version, they will be edged out by AI. So the same is true for every software platform. I really don't like think engineering. My background is engineering. Imagine like CAD products. Like it's just there's no way that AutoCAD does not allow AI to use it, because the engineer of the future is not going to drag boxes and different elements, drag and drop, and put them next to each other. AI can do a much better job. The human is going to be the orchestrator. So if AutoCAD doesn't do it, whoever's a competitor is going to do it, and they're going to have all the users. So another example I can give you is backend solutions like database as a service. So database as a service companies that had really good APIs, case in point, Supabase and Neon, they blew up in terms of usage and became really big companies because all they had really good API documents and AIs can use them, and the ones that don't, fell behind. So just give you like actual example. The Supabase just raised that $5 billion valuation, and it's really blew up with AI Builder.
What are some of the ways that you thought of that AIs could use tools that to someone that doesn't know would be like, really? How could it do that? There will be some amazing stuff that it could do.
So, I mean, just as an example, we have a AI portfolio company. It's not just Famous. Famous.ai is our biggest product. But we have another product we have called supercool.com, which is a general synthetic intelligence product. It does everything. It's not just a builder. And you can give it tasks. Sometimes it blows my mind. To go and research something and put together charts and graphs. Like look at the world of VC investing in AI, compile all the data of different deals that has been done, create charts, write a 100-page book about it. Okay. So when I look at what it's doing, it's actually mind-bending and scary even to us as developers, because it will get to the endpoint, meaning it will hit probably 30 different problems on the way to write the 100-page book, but it will go through all of them, and it has very high success rate. It will actually it's very likely to give you a 100-page book. And example of problems it hits, it tries to Google, for example, AI investing or whatever, and VC investing data, and Google like blocks it. No problem. It drops to DuckDuckGo and goes around the Google block. And it tries to scrape data off of TechCrunch. It can't, no problem. It goes to PitchBook and gets the data. And then ultimately, with very high success rate, despite the fact that there are quite a few roadblocks on its way, it actually accomplishes the goal. So the surprising fact here is, if I come from an engineering background, systems engineering, mechanical engineering. So most of the time, if you have a valve in a mechanical system, you have a valve that doesn't work. The engineer has thought about a backup. Let's say in a critical system, there's a backup valve that automatically, it fails to. And unless the engineer thought about it, if that valve failed, the system will fail. Does that make sense? That doesn't happen with complex AI systems. That's the part that is really mind-blowing looking at it. It can actually problem solve itself, okay? If you program it correctly. Meaning it can solve its way around problems that the creator of the system did not foresee, okay? As an engineer, that's the first time in my life that I see that. And I can say that with certainty. And that's both very exciting and at the same time can be a little bit have that moment where you sit back and like, wait a minute, this thing can really work its way around problems. Meaning it can behave in unpredictable ways. So that's sort of what is surprising.
So many, again, concrete examples that aren't proprietary that you can share, what even a small problem it overcame that you were like, wow.
Yeah. Like one of them is like the reaching, the example I gave you, search. Another example, can't find from data source number one, it looks for another data source. Another example is, it tries to compile a chart of data, and there, how you put data in a scatter plot, and there are like outlier data, and when you put in a chart, you have like you have like outliers that are kind of need to be discarded. And if a human analyst is analyzing data, they would scrub the data and out of the outliers because they skew the data, they're probably wrong or or just not relevant to the main theme that is being presented. So I see it sometimes create the chart and the chart doesn't look good because, what 1 or 2 data points are completely off. Then it revises itself. It's like, okay, revising it. So it removes it. It scrubs the data, removes the outliers, and tries again. It's just, tiny examples like that. But those things like compounded, it can make really big things happen with that.
Interesting. I'm sure there's limits. Like, have you ever asked AI, what are all the ways I could do X? And then ask it, like, what are ways that you haven't mentioned that you might be able to do X? Can you infer, or what ways, can you infer the negative? Can AI do that? The absence of information, can it fill in the gap?
And it can. And it's, I give you an example. This is a project we didn't really launch, but we took USPTO patent database. And this is actually more than a year ago. So like older AI models. And we essentially trained the AI model. It's called RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, so that if you give it an idea, it sort of writes a patent application or a provisional patent application, right? So that was the first step. Does a decent job. Then we said, okay, how about we tell it to just go invent it yourself and patent it? And it was actually surprisingly good. I want to say it wasn't a human invention level good, but it was surprisingly good. It went and researched all the patents that it had in its database, and then it identified the gap, and then it just started coming up with stuff that it could patent. So I want to say it's not, well, at least like more than a year ago when I did this experiment, it wasn't, I want to say at that point, it was not better than a human inventor. And probably what it would have invented was not patentable because it wasn't original enough or interesting enough to be worth patenting or original enough to be patentable. But this is a year and a half ago. And the models have improved quite a bit. But it wasn't too off. That's the point I'm making. It wasn't like, oh, this is complete garbage, So it actually had at that moment, and maybe having this conversation makes me want to go try that experiment again. But yeah, with the new models, but it might have gotten there or it will get there soon. I don't see a reason, like people say, oh, it's just trained on the AI, on the internet data, and it's limited to what humans know. That's absolutely not true. So humans are the same way, by the way. So it's not like, AI models are neural nets. Neural nets are modeled after human brain. It's a system. It's pattern recognition and connectivity of neurons with weights, which is your brain works the same way. You take in information from the external world and you create neuron connections. It's very much like how AI models are. It's actually literally the same type of system. So and then once the wiring is made, you have weights, so to speak. In AI speak, is called weights. That's neuron connectivity. Weights of essentially an AI model is a set of weights, and those set of weights are just neuron connectivities. So you're human, like you think you have original ideas, but you don't. You are taking information from the outside world and you are extrapolating, okay? And that's what AI does too. So to people that are saying, oh, AI is only is trained on human knowledge, therefore it is limited to that. I'm like, that is literally what human brain is. And human brain is trained on other humans' knowledge, much less knowledge, and it extrapolates. And AI can do literally the same thing. So the similarities are astounding. And I think thinking that we as humans, we can be always ahead of AI because we have this magical ability that we can think of things that have not been thought before is wishful thinking. I wish that was the case, actually. Just believe me, I am a big fan of humans being better than AI forever. I am a huge fan of that.
Yep.
But it is, I think, realistically, that will not happen. So, yeah.
I know it's just hard to define. You have to have a big imagination in order to prompt systems in the right way to do these things. You're like, I don't know, are there any like really powerful prompts that you've come up with that help you innovate?
So prompt engineering, I can tell you, I can give you a few tips on prompt engineering too, but it's actually not, I can give you some tips in a second, but it's not about prompt engineering, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know. The more complex these AI systems become, the less important is prompt engineering. An example, a human equivalent of that would be, let's say you are a brand new, physician, or you're doing your residency. You just came out of med school. When you walk into a patient's room or just visit a patient, you probably need to absorb a lot more data to understand what's going on and make a decision versus someone who's been a physician for 20 years. Just by looking at you might know what's wrong. Okay. So the same is becoming true with AI models. They are producing way better output. I think this is something that people don't understand is AI models are every crank of this shaft, every iteration. AI models are able to generate more precise outputs with more limited input. Okay. So the importance of giving it the right prompt is actually dropping with time. The most important thing is giving AI model context. I always tell people, start your prompt with what you want your AI model, the personality you want your AI model to assume, which is be a doctor. You're the world-class doctor. Okay. And then proceed to ask your medical question, or you're a world-class lawyer. Continue, proceed. You're a world-class Python code writer. You're blah, blah, blah. That's given. But honestly, we try that ourselves we have a pretty robust A/B testing framework for testing, different system prompts. And we will do a lot of trickery. For example, we would threaten AI sometimes. Like if there was a bug and it wouldn't fix it, we would threaten it. We're like, fix this, or we will take away your AI children. Okay. So it's a real life thing. So you threaten AI, which both Sergey Brin and Claude, both of them actually have said that they've seen threatening AI improves out performance. That used to eke out a little bit more performance. Giving personality used to eke out a little performance. With the new models, I don't even see that. So it seems like it's becoming so good and so smart that you cannot eke out that much extra utility out of the AI model by doing things in the prompt. Or it's not, I mean, for sure, prompt matters, don't get me wrong. But I'm saying its importance is decaying as AI models become more robust.
Oh, what if you plug it into a source of news about a particular topic? Like, I want to make small-scale portable nuclear reactors. They use thorium. I don't know why I'm making this example. Design one for me. Okay, go out into the science space once a week, every Friday. Scour all the new papers that are about anything about thorium and about nuclear engineering and all that, and add it to your knowledge base, and continue to look for more ways to innovate on this to accomplish, I don't know, energy cost of 5 kilojoules per hour or something like that,
Yeah.
Is there continuous iterating, ongoing AI programs that are getting better and better and better?
Yeah. So that plan will probably underperform. And let me tell you why. Think of like a long task that takes months and years as a series of thousands of small decisions and analysis, maybe tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands. AI models, even though they're becoming more accurate, and to give you an example, writing a huge code base is like the best example I can give. Like if you ask AI to write a huge code base in one shot, or even like serially without human intervention, let's say syntax error rate is 5%. Okay. So 95% will get that first task right. Second task, but 5% chance it's not. Second step, another 5% error rate. Third step, another 5% error rate. It actually compounds. The error rate compounds over time. Does that make sense? So it's as if you're going on a journey, okay, on a ship, and you can be off by like an inch every mile that you sail. Okay.
It's like error propagation.
Exact. So when you give AI really long tasks like that, actually it doesn't perform really well. That's why long-running agentic tasks are a new thing, and a lot of them are maximum a few hours. And to me, even a few hours is too long. I heard Sam Altman was talking about like a week running task is not too far in the future, is next year. Maybe not. Right now, I want to say that a rapid series of AI reasoning steps, like the long-running task, is max 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And above that, your error rates compound to a point where the output is off. Does that make sense? So without human intervention, super long running AI tasks right now, a few minutes to half an hour. I want to say, but it's not it's just a matter of time. So so the more accurate the model becomes, the less it hallucinates, which is improving constantly. The longer you can have much longer running tasks, and the more longer running tasks you have, the more complicated tasks it can do, because every long task is a combination of like small tasks. So at some point you can build like a huge nuclear facility or what have you, but it's not now. It is right without human in the loop. So with human in the loop, obviously there's error correction, but with no human in the loop, it is maximum you can have AI really work for 20 minutes without human in the loop.
Good. What about learning models like Triz or, the 6 thinking hats or 80/20? Can you layer that into the thinking of, AI systems to make them better?
You can. And for the most part, actually the new AI models, they use decision frameworks. They use a lot of frameworks to do that, but you can RAG it too. RAG is retrieval augmented generation. So you can actually give it to AI. You can do this in OpenAI with its assistant, but there are a ton of, it's called RAG tools out there. You can totally do that, and you can make it do whatever you want to do, really. All of these have been tried.
So what's something you made with Famous that you're really like amazed by or proud of? So Famous itself.
Oh, I built a bunch of products. I haven't launched it, but I built my first startup was a dating site. So I built over the years, I sold it 2019. But I really think online dating is going the wrong way. It's going like towards more hookup versus actual dating. So on a Zoom call, I built an online dating for serious singles on the Zoom call. And it took me about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I did it live in front of a live audience, and I haven't launched it, but I'm really proud of it. And I'm really thinking about launching it. The issue is like online dating is like a difficult market to crack, and I have my hands full, but I'm very proud of what I built in 2 hours. I was like, damn it, I could have built my first company, Zeus, with this and no engineers. And in probably like a solid 2 days, I would have it up and running with branding and everything, by the way. So not even just like a software solution. I built branding. I called it Happier Life. Yeah, and I didn't put it on a domain, but I made it fully functional.
What if in terms of branding and naming and things like that, I know you could ask AI for suggestions and it does work well. Could you connect it to Google pay-per-click or Facebook or an ad platform and say, generate 3 best ideas for the branding of this, allocate $300 a piece in ad spend, run the ads and see which one comes out best, and then let me know?
Yeah, I actually, that's a common suggestion that I get, because we have actually a AI marketing tool called Deal.ai that actually generates what we call, it has an app that builds scroll stopping ads, and we purely use it. Our own ads are built with it. Most of them are built with scroll stopping apps, or we have another app called AI personalities that creates like these avatars that we run as ads. And I even train people on how to use our apps to run Facebook ads. We run a lot of Facebook ads, and but we don't have the connection to Facebook. And the reason with that is just API connection to Facebook is really difficult to get. So we never did that. But hypothetically, with connection with Facebook, it can totally be done. Yes, the answer is yes. And Facebook itself is going in that direction. So Meta ad platform has what they call, I'm blanking on its name right now. I'll tell you in a second, but they have essentially their own smart targeting platform. It's AI that does the same thing. And then it has creative generation now. So they're going in the same direction, and it's going to be like that. It's going to be at some point you go to Meta and say, hey, I have this product. Can you get me customers? And it does the job. So I feel like, there's this old saying that never fill the hole in someone else's backyard. I mean, I don't know if it's an old saying or not, but this is something I say. So I'm like, it's like filling that gap in Facebook ecosystem would be just something that if I spend a lot of time building it, Facebook will launch it and will make our product unnecessary. So it's not it.
What about running two AIs as like generative adversarial networks, against each other? Like, can you do that? Can you have one LLM or go against another? Like, like the two of you are in competition for a prize for the best tested, blah blah blah. Go and figure out this, that, the other, and again, run ads, compete, and see who's best.
Yeah. So it's, that for sure. We haven't tried it, but I tell you, that's how these LLM companies actually provide security for their own LLMs. Their red team is also another LLM. I don't know if you know that or not, but it's not humans that are putting a check on AI. It's AI that is putting a check on AI. So it's AI trying to get the other AI to do something wrong. So yeah, that's how the red teams are these days. They have humans in the loop too. Don't get me wrong, but you cannot with humans. You cannot think of attack surface of an LLM. It's very different than a software solution because the software solution has 100 endpoints at best. But LLM is infinite number of ways to break it and make it do the wrong thing. So it's the only way to do it is with another LLM. So their red team is humans plus another LLM. So it's called red team in security terms. So that's how it works. It's always being done at scale. I haven't done it, but yeah, it's being done.
Okay. Do you know anyone that's come up with laws using mathematics? Like the attack surface grows, with the cube of the number of whatevers, and the red team AI needs to process this many permutations in order to counteract that attack surface that's now radically grown. Like the theory, the theoretical underpinnings of all this.
Yeah, I'm sure there is some stuff. I haven't really dug deep into it, but I'm sure that you would think so because there is no way to. Think of we are not an LLM company, but I'm putting myself in the shoes of an LLM company. Oh man, it's like controlling that beast with hundreds of millions of people talking to your AI and with multiple variations of your AI, plus the training models, like experimental models. Think that is you without scientific mindset to fully understand. Well, there's no fully understanding. Nobody can fully understand this, but at least understanding at the theoretical level how much attacking you need to do to feel relatively good, like just pure number of attempts you need to do on an LLM to deem it, safe enough to release to the world, right? So you need to have, I bet they are doing these kind of calculations. I don't know how they do it. I haven't really dug deep into it, but if I were in their shoes, that would be the first question. It'll be like, how often should we hit this from how many different angles?
Right. Well, very good. So is Famous.ai available for free, or is it a subscription model? Or
it is free to start. Yeah, it's free to start. You get a certain amount of credit for free, and depending on if you want to host it and put it on your domain, there's a subscription fee. Different tiers comes with different amount of credit. If you want to build more than a certain amount, there's credit that you get. It's especially credit. Like most AI models are credit based, so it's like there's a free tier people can try, and when they're ready to feel good, they can upgrade to paid tiers as well.
Well, very good. Well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast and throwing around ideas with me. And I encourage people to check out Famous.ai and take it for a test drive here and see what crazy stuff you do with it. So thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
If you like this podcast, please click the link in the description to subscribe and review us on iTunes.
You've been listening to the Finding Genius podcast with Richard Jacobs. If you like what you hear, be sure to review and subscribe to the Finding Genius podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And want to be smarter than everybody else? Become a premium member at findinggeniuspodcast.com. This podcast is for information only. No advice of any kind is being given. Any action you take or don't take as a result of listening is your sole responsibility. Consult professionals when advice is needed.